In a lab in Oregon, as scientists fertilized human eggs, they also swapped out some DNA, correcting defective genes that carried disease, proving it is possible to genetically modify human embryos, but fueling a growing debate.
It's one of those things that I think is inevitable. It's going to be hard to control, hard to regulate because the technology is so accessible.
According to MIT's Technology Review, which first reported on the breakthrough, the scientists used a technique called CRISPR, already used with partial success in China. Essentially a way to cut and paste DNA, replacing unwanted genetic information. Scientists say it could someday eliminate inherited diseases like some cancers, hemophilia, and sickle cell anemia. In Bloomfield, New Jersey, Michael Goodwin and his wife Faja are afraid to have children. He has sickle cell, she's a carrier.
If I could prevent my kid from having to be up in pain and crying 24/7, I would do anything in my power to stop that.
But critics worry CRISPR could be used to create designer babies, selecting hair or eye color. And some say there's potential for new mutations or even malicious uses. Last year, former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper called genome editing a potential weapon of mass destruction. And Congress has banned turning gene-edited embryos into babies. In that lab in Oregon, the embryos weren't allowed to develop more than a few days. But the debate over what they may have started lives on.
For people who love bacon but hate everything it does to their diets, we got some good news for you. You may be able to have your bacon and eat it too. You see what I did there? Scientists in China used a gene editing technique dubbed, get this, CRISPR-Cas9. It allows scientists to modify a group of pigs. Those pigs gave birth to leaner piglets. The experiment, published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, hopes to make pigs less susceptible to the cold. Their susceptibility stems from the animal's lack of the UPC1 gene, which regulates body temperature and is found in most other animals. The change could create a huge savings for the pig farming industry while improving pigs' well-being and maintaining their taste. The FDA, however, will likely keep the pigs out of America. For the moment, that's all, according to researchers.
For the first time ever, American scientists have successfully repaired a faulty gene in human embryos, and they used gene editing to target a heart defect known for causing sudden cardiac arrest in young athletes.
Now, this is a huge breakthrough in stopping inherited diseases, but is there a danger in changing our DNA for all future generations to come?
Dr. Jeffrey Steinberg, who specializes in fertility issues, gender selection, and IVF, joins us now. Great to have you here, sir.
Pleasure
Good to see you. Okay, so this is the first time that gene editing has been done here in the United States. It's a big deal.
It's a big, big deal. Perhaps one of the biggest deals in the last century.
But also controversial.
Extremely controversial because, again, we can fix people, but we don't necessarily fix their children. In other words, they can pass these diseases on. This is the first time that we're making changes that can persist in the germline. So whatever changes we make is not going away. So we've got to be very careful about what's done.
Okay, so what exactly is CRISPR, and what is the significance of this?
It's actually CRISPR-Cas9. It's a technology that was actually discovered by accident, where we've known about DNA for a long, long time now. We know it controls almost everything about us, but we couldn't do anything to fix it. CRISPR is a technique used to actually use a piece of RNA, which is genetics, to direct a repair pair of scissors to a defect in DNA and actually snip out that defect. And then once that defect is snipped out, the DNA repairs itself, or we can insert a piece of good DNA. So that's a big, big deal.
So in this study, the genes or the embryos or whatever were there, right? And they go in and they see, oh, heart defect.
Right.
Can they also see other stuff like Alzheimer's or cancer? Or?
They can see it if they look for it, okay? But again, it's so diffuse that they really wanted to concentrate on that one thing. So what they did is they took a sperm donor that they knew carried that defect, so that the embryos would have that defect.
Okay, so obviously the big controversy here is the phrase designer babies.
Yes.
Is there a chance down the road that people, oh, I want everybody to be blonde-haired and blue-eyed?
There is a chance down the road. And again, you know, it's sort of like saying, should we not develop surgery because someday you'll be able to have your nose fixed, when all the time through we've been taking out appendices and saving lives. So it's just a matter of degrees. So yes, it will come to that. We're actually beginning that now, and we're going after eye color.
Okay, so this is, obviously the study was huge. Against the law, legal? Like, what's next?
It's not against the law. The FDA's put certain restrictions on it. The British made the big leap. We were able to do it. We weren't able to do it in the U.S. because of restrictions. The British went ahead and did it, and they fixed a horrible genetic disease. So the U.S. then said, okay, you guys, you can now do some research with this, but don't make babies yet. So we're slowly treading our way towards the ultimate goal, which is fixing human beings and making things better.
So you said originally this was going in and looking for a specific heart defect.
Yes.
Which was genetic.
Right.
Obviously there's other genetic diseases, or maybe not even genetic, say Alzheimer's. I don't know if that's genetic or not, but I mean, could you specifically go in and look for something like that?
We're actually starting that because we've got some genes that we know are associated with Alzheimer's, and Alzheimer's is definitely high on the list. We've got hundreds of different types of anemias, leukemias. Crohn's disease is not, we haven't quite identified it, but it's on the list. So there's all these horrible things that people are afflicted with, and we're going to be able to fix them.
It's so fascinating that you literally clipping it out.
It's a pair of molecular scissors. We literally take a pair of scissors and snip it out and put a good gene back in.
It is pretty fascinating. A little controversial, but we'll see what happens with it.